Drop it.
Olá, quem é falado é o Lucas Mercedes Mitos para mais um vídeo. Vamos então continuar que ali não estão ali agarrados. Minimizo o simples para gravar. Bem, pelo menos não vamos ser presos por ser advogados ou criminosos, não é? Advogado é imparcial, independente se o gajo está é amigo ou não, eu tenho o direito de defender. Por mais que o advogado odeie o culpado, tem que defendê-lo.
Lenny's still talking to the guards. I think someone will be...
Ok, tem mais uma pista para aqui. Pessoal.
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Huh? You mean us? That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns.
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of this? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Meus, Demoiselle's various daily needs and
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle?
Well, I am the second generation president. Malus and the others are still used to my...
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will
No need. You don't have to call me boss.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, back to the situation at hand. That's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. My interest stems from a matter back from my father's time. Judging from the look of things, I find Lenny an unlikely...
Really? We think so too. That's why we're looking for clues now. But how did you come to that conclusion?
Intuition, naturally. My unparalleled intuition.
Something.
Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Lenny without any decisive evidence whatsoever. But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going to back down in that.
Sounds more like you just don't trust the
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her doesn't mean that I'll blindly agree with her.
Não faz sentido. Até parece que ela já fez alguma merda. Eu acho que até discutiu, mas não discutiu uma regra, embora está um pouco clara da cuca.
I've answered your question.
Wait a minute. Did that answer count?
Well, I say it does. But don't worry. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial?
Hey.
Well?
Nice.
And why would that be? See, Silver and Melissa.
Most astute of you, Demoiselle. I too think that the travelers, no matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, and if that can be done, boss.
All right, that's quite enough, Malus. Anyway, now, I need to make some preparations, following which our joint investigation shall commence.
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Oh, well, I can be the assistant. Sure.
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental in uncovering the truth.
Ok, juro.
You wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the disappearances. In this sense, our goals are aligned.
Mas tem aqui um cheirinho de fatui. E daquele projeto do doutor de pôr restos de deuses em humanos, tipo exatamente o que fez com a Colin. Cheirinho de merda do doutor. Tem mesmo cara de se manter naquele faria. Isso explicava muita coisa, porque ele tem deve ter uma visão e uma ilusão, por isso.
You have a
Não
point.
deve ser fácil para alguém como. Deve ser difícil para alguém como ele fazer.
You seem like you've got some.
I have nothing to add.
Oh.
We'll be making some preparations first.
Ok. Ok, deixa-me por cá fora, mas estamos obrigados a passar cá. Ok.
Sorry, but no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to...
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Linny and Lynette as attorneys, so we're investigating the case. Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes, after the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity then, either.
How can you be so sure?
Well, because I was in charge of security near the entrance, I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. But still, I did not abandon my post, and I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had so much as even a... We Melusines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl cut. Alright, thank you for your help.
Pergunta se
This
tem
will be
outras
useful info.
saídas, Manel. Você é inteligente. Vê se tem outras saídas. Agora temos todas as
We've
pistas.
checked everything of note here at the performance venue.
A few moments later.
Vamos aqui a investigação. Que inclusive. Ora então. Fazer. Agora temos todas as pistas que terminámos de pegar no vídeo anterior. Estamos aqui a dar uma detetive.
Understood. Then I will
Advogado.
be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitored.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm...
Ok.
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosul. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join us?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be...
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a lot.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Agora expliquem-nos como caraca funciona a magia. Que é para nós entendermos o que aconteceu. Provavelmente a gaja fez uma magia
Below
da gente.
stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
The back? You mean...
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right, let's go. I'll tell you how...
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic...
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as... The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above the... See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shoved...
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the...
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved...
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already be back on stage.
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you...
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite.
And what about Lynette?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting.
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And by the way,
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I...
So that's how it all worked. Wow. Every detail you revealed was more...
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand,
we really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled... And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a
Alguém foi
crime.
mais inteligente que conseguiu manipular truque de magia para fazer outro truque de magia dentro para depois cometer crime.
Could we have a look around? I think we can come...
This is the scene of the crime. So Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now.
Thanks, everyone. We're...
É verdade. Eles têm tudo pronto, né? Não simplesmente fica, desaparece do nada. Literalmente magia. Ok. Provas.
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh?
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick.
Whatever it is, let's make it...
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Bem,
Speaking of which, why would there be
Oh! Hi, my nose! It's one of those tricks where you pour water into a jug and here's a broken vase.
That can't be. The trolley moves along...
Let's...
foi alguém que passou e fez merda. Pronto, deixa uma pista já. Já deixa uma pista de descuido. De mais alguém.
Oh,
Aqui.
these are the clothes that the lady... Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found.
Right. And
Exato.
do you really need to do that if you're kidnapping them?
Aquele vestido, literalmente ela... O vestido dela caiu no chão, simplesmente tirou o vestido dela. Ela usou para se trocar de roupa e enfiar-se.
This is so confusing.
Literalmente as roupas dela estão aqui, what the fuck ela está? Em roupa interior, what the fuck? Ok, isso é meio sus. Demais. Sacos de mora! Duto.
What is this place?
It seems someone could fit through here.
Could this have...
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with them, this space would be...
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right. Let Paimon write that down. Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Yes.
Let's head back up.
O que quer que tenha feito? Tirou a gaja. O que quem quer que tenha raptado foi alguém que raptou a rapariga, tirou-lhe a roupa, enquanto tentava tirar-lhe a roupa, derrubou o vaso e fugiu pela ventilação. No caso deve ter oferecido resistência enquanto tentava tirar a roupa e deve ter partido.
Well,
We've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Meus returns.
Apologies for the wait.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal...
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident, and no one was found.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know, like the kind you...
Sério,
What?
Secret
Depends.
Game.
Halsey's
Harry Potter
disappearance
agora.
and Cowell's death are both quite inexplicable. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some
Charges and then
That's right.
Bem,
This is how a trial goes. That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimony. To put it simply, it's as if the oratrice has its own will.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened anyway.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This too, then, finally, the oratrice will be consulted by officials. The resultant return...
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides?
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment. Which is why people... Ah, yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed...
Huh? What?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes...
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove
nós somos
problematic if we
parte do
happen to
tronco,
spread
ok.
key information about the case ahead of time.
ok.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa, whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point. That's it.
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee of balanced nutrition.
In that
Não
case,
sou exigente,
let's
não?
just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweet?
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all. Just kidding! Just kidding! Paimon will...
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have...
Huh?
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Bem, qualquer coisa, é só me arranjarem um pouco de fogo. É só me fazerem uma fogueira que eu cozinho.
You're carrying a portable stove with you?
What the fuck? Bem, ingredientes eu
I
tenho.
must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancies...
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Good work, you two. Then I'll
Bem.
get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll
Ainda
get
bem
to
que tinha um
taste my
fogão
awesome
portátil,
snack
também tem
soon enough.
ingredientes sem
These
cozinhar.
three are quite the interesting group. And Paimon thought it smelled good
Olha,
from the way
comida
you had
temos,
these
eu
two
tenho
guys carrying, but you ended up doing
bilhão
I
de
was
comida
applauding.
e
And
ingredientes.
I was giving encouraging smiles.
Paimon was just thinking. Aren't you worried about getting your fancy
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just don't underestimate beating egg weights, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency. Anyway, give these a try. Fresh out of the...
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head.
Tea
Ah,
is
verdade,
ready to be
verdade.
served as well. This is demoiselle's No need for concern. I'm merely doing...
Ainda mais que é grande, por isso. O macarrão, por isso serve.
All right then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnels... However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confine. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical...
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel.
Exato. Do que tudo indica, quem quer que tenha raptado no momento em que o criminoso raptou a senhora. Enquanto tentava lhe tirar a roupa, ela resistiu e acabou quebrando o vaso. Deve ter sido isso.
Resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes.
Bem, não faz diferença, sabem a identidade dela, não é mesmo? Não é como se não soubessem a cara dela, a casa. Por isso...
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
True. None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this third, but
exato.
the only people left to consider are both technically victims. Whether it's the missing girl, Halsey.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Powell before making her escape?
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire... Nor does she have any motive. The guard said that she has never had any dealings with the magic...
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible... Your macarons are amazing, though, Navia. They smell great!
They are my specialty, after all.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might...
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach!
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. Malus, set up the stove again if you will.
Huh?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
Peraí.
Wow, this really is
Deixa eu ver
your
o que está a
hobby,
passar.
huh?
É uma pista. Então, queres ver que ele vai comer
That's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the 2 of you... It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
Ih, será que...
Alright, thanks for your help, and for the snack.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Ok. Sim, mano, temos provas. Apenas temos coisas que indicam que temos provas que basicamente que provam que se existir, que só são úteis que é se existir provas que existe uma segunda pessoa, uma terceira pessoa, então temos provas que a existência de uma pessoa provam que ele está inocente, provam que não temos essa prova. Bra. Aqui as conquistazinhas. Olha. 8. Deixamos-nos. Será que vai ser tipo um minigame? Oh my god. Isso liga de dia. O que fixe. Iluminaçãozinha dinâmica. Uma foto. Tem um lugar, onde é que é o lugar da... É ali. É o lugar onde a Farina fica. Imaginem se chama ali dentro.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one...
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be... Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well,
Best of luck to you.
Bem, o que temos é provas suficientes para provar que não foram eles. Se conseguimos provar que outra pessoa a mais passou lá, conseguimos provar que ele está inocente. As provas indicam isso. Mas pronto.
To be honest, you might...
No. We're already very grateful.
Well, now, don't you all look disappointed? That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence.
Bem, normalmente não. Às vezes que sim.
But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now... Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary...
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the...
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady...
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open.
Bah, o argumento dela...
Linney is clearly
Para
lying.
o argumento dela para a teoria de como funcionava dele ter aparecido e desaparecido está a mentir.
There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at...
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did...
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I...
Huh?
Ei! O que vai passar? Não sei como é que essa cena aconteceu, mas aconteceu. Vamos continuar.
Hang on!
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Peraí, ele não roubou. Não será que aquele ruído foi numa frequência específica que ele não roubou? Pode ser possível.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can... Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
Fatui?
No wonder they did something.
So the serial disappearance...
I've got a feeling that what happened...
Oh, mas por ser
That's
fato negro.
irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Fatui?
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us... Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept...
Espera, ele é Fatui?
The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now
Sim, não
comes
sabia,
the
mas pronto,
infighting
não
and
importa.
discord,
O
I
que adianta
suppose.
virem dizendo nice?
This was almost
O
too
que adianta
easy.
virem dizendo nice? Não quer dizer que sejam maus.
Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is...
Hey, Linny! Why didn't you tell us this...
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both... Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true.
I knew it!
Well,
that's it, we might as well move on to...
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already...
The defendant deceived their own...
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
Faz sentido.
This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense in that case?
Se for caso não quer se parcial.
Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you... Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you've clashed with the Vitui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just... But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very...
Right now, we want to save people.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might... I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to... The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to try. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, but still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no
Sorry.
Oh, eu não sei como, pelo menos não neste caso. What the fuck?
Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear your answer.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why, during our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
Mas o que aconteceu acidente? No caso, o truque de magia daquilo foi só para aproximar. Eles são mágicos infiltrados. Eu só queria descobrir como é que aquela desgrama funcionava.
In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opera. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went...
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to... Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that that voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any... After that, the homicide occurred just as...
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order...
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So... There you have it, the whole truth. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust
Bem, então
either.
eles invadiram um lugar, mas foi por bom motivo. E depois, mas não tem nada a ver com isso.
But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay,
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh? Oh!
Precisamos de uma pista. Depoimento. Bem, e se demos esse depoimento? Ele vai ser lixado por coisa, mas não vai ser lixado por assassinato e rapto. Apenas por uma leve invasão.
Both parties have returned to their positions. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may
That took long enough. Now then, at this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective.
A minigame.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box. He did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her.
Não foi o casaco, não. Foi a pôr do vestido todo.
At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise. And so Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices. And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linney experienced.
Não.
Seems...
Ok, já percebi. Ok.
According to Linney, Linney went to the room. Linney did not take part in the underground altercation.
Toma lá.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say.
Toma
The
lá.
countdown started. Linney did indeed go into the tunnel, but he immediately used a vent to act. Once he reached the crime scene. Finally, he reached the...
Mas não é assassinato. Mas não é assassinato. E sequestro. Refutado com sucesso. Virou 7 turnos. Virou esse turno.
Paimon did it! Paimon...
In other words, you believe that he knew...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, assuming that what you say is true, Linney only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case.
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that... Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, you're saying that he wasn't.
Carai! Oh, porque gosta das... Ai, há uma prova. Falta-me uma prova. Não me perdeu o caso por uma prova. Depoimento. É o depoimento dele.
we don't need to give this more thought. That's right! Linny wasn't in the box. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had the same clue you used to disprove his alibi.
Well, to think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Pois, a terceira. Ai, eu tenho que raciocinar.
Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or...
No. Não, não é isto.
The deceased's name is...
Provavelmente isto.
Huh? That can't be...
Oh, is that...
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did. And how he went from would-be
Hey.
The deceased's name is... The sound we heard may have come from a clash.
Simples,
No
ninguém
one
saiu.
entered or...
Ninguém saiu.
Halsey's clothing was in... The sound we heard may have come... Linny was...
Estavam no túnel na hora.
The deceased's name is Cowell. The deceased's name is... The sound we heard may have... It would have been tough for both... No one entered or left the op... The deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
Exato.
The deceased's name is...
Exato.
It would have been tough for both...
Exato. Ok, entendi.
It would have been tough for both... Halsey's clothing was in...
É, que não está assim tão bom.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring?
I see how it is. So this...
Look,
No.
since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial...
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem... And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clap. The deceased's name is Cow. The vase was not broken.
Oh, Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving all. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed.
Oh, just a moment, please. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is Must we really? Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey...
Even so, I trust the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the... Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of the rope.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are
the primordial sea.
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an... The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword... One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported.
You've got to be kidding! People do—
Could something so ridiculous actually—
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partner?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results. But we cannot... Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along the... Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial...
The deceased's name is The rope that held the water... Now it seems like the hook... The water from the primordial... The water from the primordial... Now it seems like the hook... The water from the primordial... The rope that held the water tank up was... I remember there was something else within...